Does Wicked really have what it takes to not be another Cats? Let's talk about it. What's going on, everyone? Welcome to Movie Emporium's movie review of Wicked Part 1, the newest film from director Jon M. Chu. Alright guys, Wicked is finally here on the big screen. After many years of false starts and of course the pandemic, the movie has finally come into our own to watch on the big screen in a Part 1 form of this year. This, of course, is the famous musical, the famous play, the most popular play since Phantom of the Opera, or maybe, Hamilton. And it's basically a prequel story of the Wicked Witch of the West and, of course, Glinda, the Good Witch, and kind of their nature of how they became friends and how the Wicked Witch became an outcast to the land of Oz. It's also a story about, this place called Shiz University, where we find some interesting characters that either really love Galinda or really hate Ephraim, the Wicked Witch. And so if you know the play or know the musical, then you know what the story is about. It's about a woman who's an outcast, who basically believes that, Oz, the great and powerful, can help her. And she, of course, comes under the guise of a witch who is able to help her kind of hone her powers. And as you know, it's a musical with a lot of great songs, a lot of interesting kind of commentary, and it is a prequel to The Wizard of Oz in a lot of respects, but with a twist and all that good stuff. Okay, so when it comes to Wicked, I have never seen the musical, which is surprising because I've seen a lot of musicals. I think they're fascinating to watch. I think some of the best kind of, entertainment on the market, to be fairly honest. It's also interesting that the musical for Wicked is 2 hours and 40 minutes, but the first part of Wicked, the movie, is 2 hours and 40 minutes. So that is kind of an interesting hill to climb, because it makes you wonder what exactly they're going to be adding to this story, which once again, I have to admit, like I said just a few seconds ago, I have not seen the musical, so I can't compare when it comes to my review. All I can give you is my honest opinion of the movie, so be aware. I'm not going off what the musical is. I'm just going off what Jon M. Chu and the writers, of course, the creator of Wicked and stuff like that, are presenting to me. That's kind of where I have to lean. But just go in knowing that this movie is going to be huge. It's going to make a lot of money. So there you go. And so for my truly honest opinion, the thing I honestly believe of this movie is this movie truly shocked me. And what I mean by that is I went into this movie expecting to hate this movie. And what I mean by that is the musical never really seemed to appeal to me, because The Wizard of Oz, I think, as a movie, the original Warner Brothers movie, is a pure, fun entertainment, but with really interesting dark messages that really shine on the screen. When I heard about Wicked and how it goes back and there's a place called Shiz University, I just kind of felt that it was going to be very rote and kind of goofy in a lot of respects. So to my shock and surprise, I honestly and truly love this movie. This movie might make my top 10, which is shocking because I did not expect to love this movie at all. And what this movie does is it integrates a really interesting story that has some really hard-hitting elements to it, which if you know the play or musical or have read the book, you know exactly what I'm talking about, because I'm going to try not to spoil too much. But when it takes a character like the Wicked Witch of the West, which is played by Cynthia Erivo in this movie, and puts a spin on it to the point where she's so sympathetic that it is actually sad to see the transformation, or sad to see how the story plays out and how Ephraim, the Wicked Witch, eventually gets to her point, is a really kind of interesting take on this whole material. It completely turns it on its head, which once again, if you've seen the musical, I'm sure it's the exact same way. But to watch Ephraim be shunned by everybody, be laughed at by everybody because she's green and she's different, it makes me understand why the musical is so popular, because she can be one of those outcasts, like, for instance, like me growing up, I was made fun of and stuff like that. She can be somebody that's strong-willed and somebody that can affect people, and she has, issues and problems, but she also has a heart and a passion to her, which really shines really, really well. And it really shows. And I think Cynthia Erivo is fantastic as Ephraim. I think she does a fantastic job as portraying that. She has a lot she has to do, and it's a very difficult role to portray because she has to get to a certain point, I'm assuming in the Wizard of Oz story, where she's going to eventually have water thrown on her and she's going to melt. But it's a really fascinating thing because part one has to leave off at a certain point because they need part two. So where that story leads, I have no idea. But it's the level of just like humility and humanity that Cynthia Erivo brings and that this character portrays. It's a really fascinating kind of portrayal, and I really appreciate it. And I thought it was a wonderful performance. Whether she gets an Oscar nomination, I don't know. I think this movie's going to get plenty of Oscar nominations, but I just think Ephraim is just a very interesting character that is given a lot of dimension, and I'm assuming it's expanded upon in this movie because it's 2 hours and 40 minutes. But there's a lot of stuff there. There's stuff involving animals. There's a stuff involving her home life. There's stuff involving just why you feel so sorry for her and why it feels so dark in the nature of what she has to go through, because she's like everyone. She's like a lot of people who feel different, who feel like they're being portrayed in a different light. And I think it's well put together on screen. I think John M. Chu is really putting something out there that really shows that and expands upon that and really makes this movie sing with all that nature. And then you have Ariana Grande, who is absolutely mesmerizing as Golinda. She's pompous. She is, very self-absorbed, very self-centered. And she also has a heart to her because even though she's like, I want me, there's something something of a level of sadness to her character that Ariana Grande does a really nice job of portraying. It was really kind of interesting to watch because I didn't know Ariana Grande was capable of like such bravado when it came to her performance. And she's so fantastic. And on top of everything, she and Cynthia Erivo can sing like legit, because Cynthia Erivo got an Oscar nomination for her singing. But I think they play well off one another. They have different worlds that they come from, but they have similarities. They show that their friendships are very much a bond of womanhood, and it really is shown very, very well. And I just thought that it was amazing to watch these two individuals just work it on the screen, and it's done so very, very well. It's pretty impressive, but it's also shown on the screen with the side characters. Bach, who's played by Ethan Slater, and Bowen Yang, who plays Paphne, and Brown and James, and Peter Dinklage, who voices the goat in this movie. And of course you have Michelle Yeoh, who plays Morrible, and she's regal, but there's some feeling of menace behind her, and of course where her character leads. And then you have Jeff Goldblum in the movie, who plays the Wizard of Oz, and he's doing Jeff Goldblum, so I can't really say whether it's the greatest performance or the worst performance, because it's Jeff Goldblum who does Jeff Goldblum. There's no ifs, ands, and buts around it. It's what he does. But he sings in the movie, which is cool. I never thought I would see Jeff Goldblum sing in a movie, which is really interesting. Shows that he has talent. But with his character, and once again with the Wicked Witch, with Ephraim and stuff like that, it's really interesting to see kind of like the veneer of the outside is not the veneer of the inside. And I think that's what this movie is, or what this musical does, and what this movie does really, really well, what John M. Chu is capable of capturing, is how things are not what they seem. Your view of the outside or the inside world is not what it is on the outside world, and that kind of thing, or the opposite, whatever you want to call it. And then what the star of this movie is, what makes it really sing, is the musical numbers, how they are integrated throughout the movie, how they kind of come and go. And they might go into one song, and then the song might kind of fade away, but then they kind of come back, which is what musicals do. The idea of like kind of there's like really cool set pieces, like in the library, or outside of Shiz University, or in the woods, or in Oz itself, which is really cool looking. There's a lot of creativity in this world that is, Wicked itself, which I'm assuming a lot of it is kind of from the set designers maybe of the movie or the musical itself, so you can really feel kind of the musical aspects. And I think what John M. Chu has done here is really represent what he learned from In the Heights, to be fairly honest, and what he's learned from like the Step Up series. Is he knows how to put stuff on the screen. He knows how to make it interesting, how to make it feel like it fits in this world, and just make it very, very creative. And I think people like Jonathan Bailey, who play Fierro, or however you say his name, really do a nice job of like kind of integrating themselves into stuff like that. And it's a really beautiful movie. It's a really wonderfully done version of Wicked, I'm assuming. And I think it's going to win over the hearts of the people who love this musical. I really do. I think it's a really fascinating, really interesting movie. I think it has a lot of, very catchy songs. Defying Gravity is one of the most famous songs that comes out of a musical. It really is just it's a wonderful movie. Is it perfect? No movie is, because it is a little longer than it needs to be. There are parts where I think it could be cut down. But I think for a movie with as big a budget, as big of a footprint as it has, it is probably the best musical I've seen maybe ever, to be fairly honest. I don't know. It depends on if you like Chicago or Rent or something like that. But I think this is a step up in what musicals can be. I think it has a lot of interesting messaging about being different, about, how we look upon the world, how we blame things instead of blaming ourselves. And I think it's a true winner. It might, once again, hit my top 10. It's a very interesting year. Still got to see a few films before the end of the year. But I think it's a movie that really shines on not only the material, but the fact that it really puts its heart on its sleeve and wins you over. So there you go. Anyways, with that said, that'll do it. That'll be my take on Wicked Part 1, which is now, or should be in theaters very, very soon. Wicked Part 2 will be out next year. Long wait. But anyways, that'll do it. Thank you so much for watching. Comments below, what did you think of Wicked as a musical? Do you like it? What's your favorite part of it? All that good stuff. I'm interested because I have not seen the musical. Now that I've seen the movie, I do want to see the musical, but I have not seen it. So let me know in the comments below. But otherwise, if you like what you see on this channel, hit the subscribe button to join Movie Emporium. Hit that notification bell. Top of the is coming next. If you like this video, awesome. Hit that like button. As always, we'll see you guys on the next video. Peace out, guys.